In the crowded, restless world of social media, where attention spans are measured in seconds and meaning is often sacrificed for speed, it is remarkably easy for even the most thoughtful messages to be swallowed by noise. Every moment brings a new post, a new headline, a new outrage, a new distraction. Yet, every so often, an image appears that cuts through the chaos with surgical precision. It pauses the scroll. It invites reflection. It speaks without shouting. And when that happens, it reminds us that true influence does not need volume. It needs intention. Not long ago, such a moment arrived in the form of a single photograph shared by Meghan Markle. The image was simple at first glance. Meghan standing in a garden setting, wearing an off-the-shoulder dress familiar to royal watchers, holding a cluster of bright red balloons and jars of strawberry jam. Her smile was calm, knowing, and unmistakably self-assured. There was no dramatic caption, no lengthy explanation, no aggressive marketing push. And yet the image spoke volumes. On the surface, it looked like a charming visual to accompany the launch of her lifestyle brand. Warm, inviting, wholesome. But nothing in that frame was accidental. Every element carried meaning. Every detail told a story. This was not just branding, it was visual storytelling at its most refined. The strawberry jam, homemade and deeply nostalgic, symbolized comfort, care, and a return to the simple joys of life. It evoked memories of kitchens filled with warmth, of recipes passed down, of slowing down in a world that rarely stops. The balloons, vibrant and buoyant, represented celebration, hope, and fresh beginnings. They lifted the frame emotionally, suggesting joy without excess, optimism without naivete. And then there was the dress quietly anchoring the entire narrative. That dress was first worn in 2018, during the days leading up to her royal wedding. At the time, it symbolized transition, anticipation, and the immense weight of stepping into an institution defined by centuries of tradition. Back then, it carried expectations, rules, constraints. Today, it carries something entirely different: ownership. By choosing to wear that same dress again, Meghan was not revisiting the past out of nostalgia. She was reclaiming it. She was transforming a garment once associated with royal duty into a symbol of independence and self-definition. The dress did not define her then, and it certainly does not define her now. Instead, it became a bridge linking who she was to who she has become. This is where the image becomes powerful. Meghan is not erasing her royal chapter, she is integrating it. She is acknowledging that every experience, especially the difficult ones, has shaped her. This is evolution, not revisionism. Growth, not rejection. The photograph quickly went viral, igniting debate across social media and traditional media alike. Supporters praised its elegance and restraint. Critics predictably searched for hidden motives, but what stood out most was how calmly Meghan let the image speak for itself. There was no defensiveness, no bitterness, just a serene confidence that suggested deep inner peace. Sometimes the strongest statements are made in silence, and in that silence, true strength reveals itself. To fully understand the significance of this moment, it is important to remember who Meghan was in 2018. She was an actress stepping into royal life, learning protocols that were never designed with her background or voice in mind. Her role was rigidly defined, her individuality carefully managed, her public image shaped by an institution that values continuity over authenticity. Fast forward to today, and the contrast could not be clearer. Meghan is now a mother, a producer, a philanthropist, and an entrepreneur living in California. She sets her own agenda. She speaks in her own voice. She builds projects aligned with her values. The dress remains the same, but the woman wearing it has transformed completely. Her smile in this new image is not performative. It radiates contentment earned through resilience. She has weathered relentless scrutiny, navigated public criticism, and emerged with clarity about who she is and what she stands for. She is no longer defined by a title. She is the architect of her own destiny. And this is where the double standard becomes impossible to ignore. Re-wearing outfits has long been praised when done by other royals. Catherine, Princess of Wales, is often celebrated for repeating outfits, with headlines applauding her thriftiness and relatability. The same action, however, is framed very differently when Meghan does it. Suddenly, it becomes suspicious, calculated, provocative. This contrast reveals something deeper than fashion commentary. It exposes how narratives are shaped not by actions, but by who performs them. Meghan's independence is frequently framed as defiance rather than practicality. Her confidence interpreted as ambition, her autonomy treated as disruption. The criticism is not about her dress. It is about her refusal to conform. By re-wearing the dress, Meghan quietly dismantled that double standard. She reminded the world that she does not need permission to evolve, and she does not need approval to move forward. The same garment, worn by a changed woman, becomes a declaration. I own my past, and it does not own me. This philosophy extends seamlessly into her lifestyle brand. The brand is not a hobby or a vanity project. It is a carefully constructed business rooted in intention and long-term vision. Meghan's entrepreneurial instincts existed long before royal life, but now they are fully realized on her own terms. The launch itself was subtle and intentional. Curated images, a clean, understated aesthetic. Strawberry jam sent quietly to select friends, creating intrigue rather than hype. This is classic intelligent marketing exclusivity paired with authenticity. It invites curiosity instead of demanding attention. What Meghan is selling is not just jam. She is offering a philosophy, a lifestyle centered on mindfulness, creativity, wellness, and family. She is inviting people into a world where intention matters more than excess, and where success is measured by alignment rather than applause. For the first time, she controls every aspect of the narrative, from product design to messaging. This freedom was never available to her within the confines of royal life. Now she embraces it fully. She is the CEO of her own story. Predictably, criticism followed. Accusations of opportunism, claims of desperation, familiar talking points recycled by those unwilling to accept her success outside the monarchy. But these reactions reveal more about the critics than about Meghan. They reflect an ongoing discomfort with her independence. The narrative of failure is clung to stubbornly, even as evidence of her growth becomes undeniable. Criticism becomes a form of punishment for daring to thrive on her own terms. Yet the louder the criticism grows, the more it underscores her resilience. Traditional media no longer holds exclusive power. Meghan's direct connection with her audience is her greatest strength. She does not need intermediaries to tell her story. She tells it herself calmly, clearly, and without apology. What makes this moment especially compelling is Meghan's refusal to disown any part of her journey. Re-wearing the 2018 dress is not an attempt to rewrite history. It is an act of acceptance. She acknowledges that her time as a duchess shaped her, taught her, and strengthened her, and she carries those lessons forward. Authenticity does not mean erasing the past. It means embracing every chapter without being trapped by any single one. Meghan is not defined by one role, one title, or one period of her life. She is defined by the sum of all of them. In a digital age obsessed with spectacle, her quiet photograph stood out precisely because it resisted excess. There was no grand announcement, no glossy campaign, just a woman in her garden, wearing a familiar dress, holding balloons and jars of jam. And yet that image captured a full-circle moment. Past, present and future converged in a single frame. It communicated resilience without defensiveness, confidence without arrogance, strength without noise. The dress, once reserved for formal royal moments, appeared relaxed and approachable. The balloons symbolized freedom and celebration. The jam reflected care, creativity, and personal touch. Together, they formed a narrative of transformation and self-discovery. With one post, Meghan announced her brand, defined its ethos, and reclaimed her narrative on her own terms. It was deeply personal and strategically brilliant. It forged emotional connection while demonstrating the power of subtlety. In today's landscape, authenticity and symbolism often outperform massive advertising budgets. People are drawn to meaning, to intention, to stories that feel real. Ultimately, this moment is about more than fashion or branding. It is about thriving beyond limitation. For years, Meghan's story was framed as loss of status, loss of privilege, loss of relevance. But this image reframes everything. It is about creation, about authorship, about freedom. Rewearing the dress is not nostalgia. It is closure. It is strength drawn from history, not trauma. Meghan's journey resonates far beyond royalty. It speaks to anyone who has ever been underestimated, constrained, or defined by others. She proves that success is not measured by titles, but by authenticity. That power does not require permission, and that sometimes the most profound statements are made quietly. Once a duchess, now a woman fully in command of her life, Meghan stands not as a character in someone else's story, but as the author of her own.